Hi everyone, welcome to Eco Learning classes. This is Professor Geeta Mahesh. Dear students, let us discuss chapter 2, collection of data. In this chapter, we will be discussing how we are going to collect data, what are the source of data, and the types of collecting data. Let us start with discussing the meaning of variable. What do you mean by variable? Here variable refers to values which keeps changing from time to time, year to year are called as variables, and these variables will be denoted by X, Y, Z. What are the source of data? Before we take up the source of data, let us understand during a statistical inquiry, we come across with a few concepts like investigator, whom we call investigator. A person who conducts investigation will be called as investigator. Who is an enumerator? Enumerator is a person who collects information from the respondent. Who is the respondent? Who provides the information? They are called as respondents. Now let us discuss types of data. There are two types of data. One is primary data. What do you mean by primary data? If data is collected by investigator for his own purpose for the first time from beginning to end are called primary data. So an investigator himself is going to collect information for his own particular purpose, and it will be collected for the first time, and he will undertake activities from beginning to the end, and such type of data we call it as primary data. What do you mean by secondary data? Secondary data will be existing already. That means data which is already collected by somebody else, and from that if you are going to collect the information, then such type of data we call it as secondary data. So these data have already been collected by somebody else. These are available in the form of published or unpublished report. Students, now let us discuss difference between primary data and secondary data. If we refer primary data, we call it as original, and secondary data we call it as not original, because primary data is collected for the first time, whereas secondary data already exists and it is collected by somebody else. From that reports we are extracting the information required for us, and they are not original. Primary data is called first-hand data as it is collected by investigator for the first time for his own purpose. Secondary data are called second-hand data because it is collected by somebody else, and now you are extracting information required for you from that data. So when you extract for your own purpose from somebody else's report, then it becomes the second-hand data. Primary data do not need any adjustment as it is collected for a particular purpose. But secondary data need to be adjustment to suit the objectives of study in hand, because it is collected by somebody else for their own purpose, not for your purpose. So there is a need of some alteration, and that should be altered in such a way that it should suit the objective of study in your hand. Primary data are expensive as you are going to collect personally, and it becomes expensive. Secondary data are less expensive because from the reports you are going to extract the information, so it won't be expensive. Before we discuss the methods of collecting primary data, let us complete the collection of secondary data. There are two main sources of secondary data. One is published source. That means the resources will be available. Secondary data will be available through publications. Such type of data we call it as published source. Unpublished source means it won't be available in the form of a published source. It will be in the records, but it won't be published either in newspapers, magazines or bulletins. The good example for published source are government publications, semi-government publications, reports of committees and commissions. If we consider unpublished source, these data are collected by government or it may be organizations or others, generally are of their self-use or office record. Government department, for example, registration of births and deaths. Private individuals, if they undertake any research work and they will collect information, but it won't be published. Institutions. There may be institutions, for example, financial institutions may collect information related to financial sector, but they will keep for their own purpose, but it won't be published. In the next video, we will be discussing methods of collecting primary data. Dear students, if you like, please like, share and subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much.